Hey, this is a video, and I hope to keep it short, but I want to share it with creative people. Some of you out there would love to make a good living being creative out in the world. And having done this for almost 3.5 decades, I can look back and see patterns that have served me even way back before the internet. And I can tell you that I'm experiencing another wave of success. I've had many waves, and I can look back and I can see the commonality, and I'd love to share what I've learned with people so they can have better lives and how they can predict their income better, and enjoy what they're doing and enjoy giving what they're doing, enjoy the art that they create and give to the world, and be able to live not in this survival mode, starving artist idea. So this is geared to the people out there that don't mind getting down in the trenches, don't mind getting down in the dirt. This is not every artist. There's some artists there, they just want to be original. They don't want to stoop below and have to do the dirty work, the admin, the talking, the networking, all that. So that's fine if you're that person. This is not for you, but you may be listening. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine a couple days ago, and when I told him what he could do, and I said, this is what you could create, there was no inspiration on his face. There was nothing like, wow, I think I could do that. I'm excited. Let me get started right away. It was a complete blank face, because so some of you want to just, let's say classical musicians, for example. You just want to play, you want to teach, you want to get a teaching job, you want to get a symphony job, and just do what you love. That is great. More power to you. There's a great path there to make money, to, and there's always this grass is greener on the other side thing that goes along, even with that, because then you're going to be being paid by somebody, being paid by an institution, and there'll be requirements. So if you're happy living in that institution type situation and you can accept a lot of that, then that's great. So if you can accept doing some of the admin and the work that in my area where I've had success, then this may be for you. But what I want to say, this is the formula that's worked for me, is if you can find a Venn diagram of combining some of your originality with something that you bring to the world that it hasn't been seen before, some new way of combining your originality with something that is also familiar to the world, or possibly even a trend or a fad, and you recreated it so that you're creating something that's new but has elements of something that's popular, you can make really good money. So for instance, in my world, I started out as a jazz violist. So jazz viola, like, it creates that, what's that? I stand out from the crowd. I'm doing something that not everybody's doing. But the jazz part appeals to the jazz crowd. The jazz crowd wants to go, jazz viola, I haven't heard that before. Can you do that? Can you pull that off? So in my beginning of my career before the internet, I could get all kinds of publicity and, cover stories and magazines, newspapers, all over wherever I toured, and I could get people to come to my shows because they were curious about something. Viola, classical music, combined with jazz. What's that? So there's some familiarity, but there's also something new that I was doing. And in the beginning, I just didn't want to be another violist playing in an orchestra, or if I was a violinist playing concertos. There's plenty of people doing that. So I've always been interested, and I've always been excited by the possibility of creating something individual that takes something known and recreates it in kind of a new way, and not rehashing what's already been done. So fine, if you want to do that, I have no problem with that. But what resonated for me was creating something that got me excited. So that has been a thread through the whole thing for 35, 40 years of doing this. And it started, so it was kind of like an aha moment. Like, okay, so jazz viola, I love that. I love playing jazz. I love collaborating with musicians. I love creating this otherworldly collaborative atmosphere that the audience picks up. That's something I've noticed across my whole career. So let's keep doing this. And what other ways can I keep doing this? So when I had to stay home and raise my kids, I couldn't be on the road. So I had to recreate myself and figure out, okay, this jazz viola thing doesn't work in Austin. I can't make a really good living just doing jazz viola all the time. So I started noticing that singer-songwriters wanted to use me to write arrangements. So then I thought, well, what if I collaborate with the famous singer-songwriters, the ones that have audiences already? That's going to speed up my ability to get in front of a lot of people. So I started creating concerts called Strings Attached, collaboration concerts. And then I could get on the radio because I'm working with established famous people like Eliza Gilkison, Slade Cleaves, Shawn Colvin, all these people. It just caught like wildfire. For about 10 or 15 years, I did that. And some might say, oh, you're compromising. You weren't doing your thing with the jazz viola and writing your original music. And all that time, I had the intention of opening up the show with my original music. And we would do it sometimes. But the admin of running the concert series, getting all the sponsors, all this, just organizing the volunteers took so much time that my original music that I'd started earlier on, like I said, touring Canada, all these places before 35 years ago, went on the back burner. But I could make a really good living making music in Austin. I was on the radio. I was playing shows for anywhere from 500 to 1,600 people at a regular basis. I had created a new formula that I still adore and love. And I haven't done that much really in a while. So I did that up until about 2010. Then it started dropping off because radio stations started to change. In Austin, they didn't support local music as much. They looked at what I was doing as more of geezer music. And Austin became more of a youthful place. And KUT, KGSR, that whole window of opportunity just quickly faded. This is 15 years ago. And I got depressed about it, but then I had to remake myself again. And for the next 10, 12 years, I, did weddings. Then I came upon this thing called Strings in the Woods. Could I make an event where it was just me, where I reduced the overhead to absolute minimum? So I created Strings in the Woods about 10 years ago. And I was able to do that and support myself doing that. The basic premise was me plus maybe one other musician playing totally acoustic in the woods. So I had no venue costs. Nothing. And it was an idea that intrigued people. So you see the idea all along. I am putting out there ideas that intrigue people, that combine something that is familiar, but something new, making something new. Strings in the Woods, everybody still flips out about it. It's amazing. But even that had a sort of a glass ceiling because, not a glass ceiling, but a ceiling, because, there's only certain, I can't have, 150, 200 people. It's a very personal, intimate event. So 50 to 100 people is like the tops for something like Strings in the Woods. It's outside. We don't have amplification. And also there is weather. So a lot of times weather would cancel it. People, so it's unpredictable. All right. So then because of that, I said, okay, I want to create something new that can be done in Austin in the summer. So I created Concerts in the Dark. In the Dark, I was inspired by the Blind Concert Experience. Those guys are doing a similar thing. What's that? Creates curiosity in people. Music inside. What would it be like to hear music in a totally dark environment where you didn't see the musicians? I was intrigued by instead of having that visual of a famous musician, it's like, just make music the star, not the musician. That's what a famous pianist told me once. Music should be the thing, the music, not the musician. Okay? So I thought, well, if you can't see the musician and you only hear the music, fantastic. Let's give that a try. Now, what's interesting is that I don't put that out there anymore. It's not something that people talk about, but that was one of the original intentions of Concerts in the Dark. So now I'm doing Concerts in the Dark, and let me go backwards and talk about advertising and promotion. So I've always noticed how well certain kinds of advertising can work for certain periods of time. So the radio advertising amazing. If I could get a radio station to sponsor or support and even pay for radio advertising, if it's the right radio station, it would exponentially increase my ticket sales and make it possible for me to pay the musicians, to do rehearsals, to create a pretty amazing product. But again, with radio, with newspapers and magazines, there's a big leap of faith. You spend this huge sum of money and you don't know if it's going to work. And once you're in, you're committed. So what's great about now, and what I love about Meta, Facebook and Instagram ads, and a lot of the ads now, I know that there's a lot of hatred toward these things, social media and all that, but it gives gives people like me, who are small businesses, the ability to test something at a very low level. If it's not working, you just can end it and you can try something else. So you can actually find out what's working, and then when you know what's working, like what's actually moving the needle, what is creating a 4 to 8 to 10 times return on your spend. You never have that idea with a radio or a print ad. You never have those kinds of metrics where you can just turn it off. It's a commit, it's a leap of faith. But with Meta, now I can see what cities. And I've always known that small cities were great, all the way back to touring. We loved playing little cities. It's the best for artists like, if you're Rolling Stones or Pat Metheny, you can play the big cities. But the return on investment in small cities is unbelievable. But again, if you're an artist and you're hearing this and you want to do this, I'm going to get to it in a minute. I'm going to tell you, you can't just jump in and expect to have the same results I'm having, okay? You got to have some things in order first. But I'm having this unbelievable renaissance of using advertising, and I'm spending an amount of money that most artists would be like, how in the world do you do that? There's no way I could do that. And I was scared too, like hearing about people spending $5, $10, $15, $30,000 a month. But if you're getting a 5 to 10 times return on that, it works. But it's great because Meta gives you the tools to be able to figure out what works, like I said, and then confidently, slowly edge up, slowly scale, like they say, scale up really slow. So you can check it hourly, daily, weekly, and if anything starts to go off, you just turn it off. So now I'm having some events where I'm having anywhere from 4 times to 10 times the return on my advertising. So that's unbelievable. And I can see it all as it's happening. But if you're interested in doing this, you have to have some things in order. Now, I've only tried it with my projects that I have these things in order. I don't know. We could be in some kind of renaissance right now. Maybe if I suspect it won't work as well as what I'm doing. Pretty sure. But you've got to have your brand in order. You've got to have something, like I said earlier, that I've been doing for 35 years. You've got to do something that's familiar, but also has that, I'm curious feeling to it. I'm curious about that. It feels new, but also it has something that I'm familiar with, your art. So if you're just like, I'm a singer-songwriter doing songs, playing at X bar, you're going to fade into the noise. You are in the noise. People look at that and it doesn't inspire them. It doesn't create a curiosity. It does not create a curiosity to say, I'm going to click on that and see what it's about. So the more you can create curiosity, the more that you can create wonderment through your content, your ads, your images, the more that this 10 times, 4 to 5, if you can get 4 times return on your ads, you're doing really well. I'm getting 10 times on some of the places I'm doing this. So you got to have your brand story, everything that you're about. You got to have it down. What do I believe in? What am I projecting out and into the world? So as a singer-songwriter, you could do this. You could really decide, what am I doing musically? So I believe, and have always believed, in standing out from the crowd in some way. It's more interesting for me. So a lot of the music I see, it just sounds like the same old stuff. It's the same old noise. And you can look back, and it may be good. Let's put it this way. Okay, let me back up a second. It may be decent. You may be singing in tune. You maybe have really actually great lyrics. And if you don't want to make money and be successful as a singer-songwriter or musician and just play churches like Brad does, which is fine, and just be great at your craft, that's wonderful. So I'm just telling those of you that want to do what I've done, this is what you have to do. Okay? So don't put stuff out there that sounds like the same old stuff. And that, again, if you're like, well, that's what I do and I don't really want to change, then that's fine. I'm just saying it's probably not going to work for you. I could be wrong. Maybe the AI is so great that it'll find your fans, but my experience has shown that it won't work as well. Okay. And also with with AI now, it's just making like all the things that I've done for almost 15, 20 years unnecessary. I don't have to be posting all the time. I don't have to be sending millions of emails. I can pay AI. It's like paying somebody to go out and find my perfect fans that are aligned with the message, the branding that I'm putting out there. When I say branding, it's the messaging. It's how I stand out from the noise. So you have to ask yourself, if you can stand out from the noise in many, many different ways. So what I have been doing for 35 years and believed in since I started as a musician is now really beginning to be an asset for me. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. I believe it also from the data. The data is showing that. And the anecdotal data that I get at the shows, because I do like 5 different shows now. And the one that is the most successful is the Radiohead show. And what about that Radiohead show? Sure, it could be a combination of things, but that show, I've done almost all the arrangements or we've done them as a band, but I did them intentionally in a way that makes a journey. So the actual musical show itself has been extremely crafted to take the audience on a journey that raises you up and then comes down. And it's from the smallest details of like, we're going to start this piece with the cello, then we're going to add the guitar, then we're going to raise it up, and then we're going to drop out. Some of these things are about orchestration, about drama in the music. I don't see when I go see bands at Saxon Pub or whatever. I mean, they're great and people respond to it, but they're not using techniques that classical or jazz composers use. There's no drama. It's like everybody's playing at the same time. It's noise, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm noticing about that show is I get the most comments at the end of the show, and I've been doing it for almost a year now. And the most intention has gone into that show, into making the arrangements as interesting, as otherworldly as possible as I can, down to like really asking questions and remaking the arrangements and talking to the band members and crafting it. So we did it last week, and people are, coming up. And wow, this is a transformative experience. So what I've created is something that has spoken word, has sound bowls. We walk around in the room. We turn the lights off. We have candles. It's an experience. So that takes it away from being under the noise of every show that you go to. And all of that's reflected in the advertising, in the landing page, the text, and the comments that you see on the landing page. You see other people saying this is a transformative experience. So what I'm saying is, if you do that, and this is what I've done, that I've strived about since the beginning, how can I be different? How can I be true to myself? How can I be authentically different than the noise in the crowd? So that's just me. You may think, oh, well, playing 3 chords, 4 chords, beautiful voice, that may actually be the way you stand out from the crowd. So you have to decide, but you might want to look, how do I sound? And is there a way I could bring something different to my music and still sound authentic? that makes me stand out from the crowd? What is that? We are all different. Every human being is completely different. How could I emphasize that authentic element that is different about me? Okay, so this really works for music. I don't know about, painting or poetry, this process I'm talking about, but this really works for music if you want to make a living, a good living, and find that middle ground where you're not a starving artist and where you're not selling out doing weddings. On the other hand, you may find doing weddings as a transcendent thing I can see it too. I mean, many of my jazz heroes played weddings. Pat Metheny did. What's that guy named? Joe Lovano did. And they have all these stories. So did Bill Frisell and Joey Barron on the drums. So anyway, just saying now, 35 years in on this, since 1990, 89, 88, more 37 years into this, it's fun to look back and see the things that are common that are still serving me today. And a career in the music, as that's what I know, is about peaks and valleys. And you can begin to have fun in the ways that you recreate yourself. And there is a bit of a fun addiction when things start to work and then you double down on those. So if you want to know more, I'm not selling anything actually here, and people have said to me, why don't you do a course? And I just don't have time to do a course. So I have time to make these videos and tell people that are interested, friends that want to know. Well, it's Meta Ads right now that is helping me pay off my debt. Like, I'm going to be able to pay off my debt in 2 to 3 months and be at zero debt. It's unbelievable. And I've had massive family issues happening that I've gone into incredible debt. But my problem now is the thing that is holding me back from really making it exponentially grow, honestly, is finding more places, more churches, more yoga studios that I can do the events at, more theaters. So it's like, once I have the theaters that want to work with me, then we're just going to do more shows, bigger shows. That's the issue I'm in right now. I need to find bigger theaters, spaces that work with the Concerts in the Dark concept. It has to be a space that can be dark, has to be a space where we can put up candles, has to be a space that sounds great acoustically, where we don't have to use any amplification or very little, if any, because that's what's magical. That's what people are really getting inspired by and realizing how powerful acoustic music is. And that's a way that sets me apart from probably 98% of all live music now, except for classical music. So right now, I'm actually, and that's something that I have to do. I probably could train somebody to find the spaces and pay them, because that's a time-consuming activity. But as soon as I have anywhere from 20 to 50 spaces, kind of in a 3 to 12-hour drive of Austin, then I can start ramping up. I can start doing shows that are 200 to 500 seats. I don't have to do as many. Maybe I'll do 4 a month. Or if I'm really enjoying it, maybe I'll do 6 a month. And I don't know. It's just, what's interesting is how your mind shifts as you get more in this and you see the success and you see the income increasing and you realize the things that you can let go of, because you can now pay for help. Like right now I have a house manager that I pay that knows how to do everything. So when I go to a show, she sets everything up so I can focus on my world. And what it's getting down to is if I keep seeing that success of every show, like every show being sold out, then I'm going to start getting there earlier and having the house manager do absolutely everything. And I just go to the green room and let her handle everything, like setting up my stuff, my little zone, everything. Like, I'm thinking about this out loud because there's still things that I do at the show that I could outsource. And that's going to impact the product. The product is my performance, the music. So if I'm more centered and more relaxed, people are going to pick up on that. So it gets really exciting the more deeper you go with this. Income can give you more options and not have to be handling so many things. So your mind opens, your stress levels go down, And then you start thinking, wow, I'm having a really great time doing this. I'm getting more aligned with what I wanted to do since I was a kid, which is making people happy, and also playing with band members that are truly my friends. And we're having a transcendent experience doing this. What could be better than that? I mean, wow, what could be better than a life doing that? And then you're making good income. And honestly, like, what's enough? You know, I mean, I'm not trying to be a millionaire here, but anyway, just wanted to share with you what's working. If you have any questions, write them below. Like, if I didn't cover anything, I can definitely recommend the consultant that I used for 2 months, and she totally wants more people to work with to do ads. I can recommend some of the courses that I've taken, so you can reach out to me if you want to comment below, and then I can put those down so everybody can see them. But it's a great feeling. It's a feeling of peace. It's a feeling of getting out of survival mode that I have felt many times in my life. So that's what part of me is kind of like, you know, this could be short-lived, or this could be, you know, what I've seen in these peaks, they usually last anywhere from 5 to 10 years. So I'm hoping this one lasts 10 years. Because as you get older, you just get more relaxed about the peaks and valleys. You know that you can adapt. And I live very simply. I live is very minimalist, but there's still areas that I want to create more minimalism in. So that's exciting. But once you learn how to live very minimal, let's say if all this goes away, I'm not worried. You know, I can live on a very small income. I'm just not worried about it. I have lots of support in the community. I've built friendships. I mean, it's just, there's so many things I can pivot to if this all goes away. So it's really exciting. And for those of you that have watched this whole thing, Brad, are you still here? Make a comment below and ask me anything if you want me to go more into this specifically. But it's basically the power of advertising on Meta and Instagram. I haven't had time to look at YouTube or Google Ads. I mean, I'm sure that works too, but I'm one person managing all of that right now. And at some point I'll probably will offload that. But I mean, how far do I want this to go? I want to be playing 200 to 500 seat halls again, playing my music, making people extremely happy, bringing mindfulness, meditation, giving people a release from life, giving them an opportunity to remember what's important through a musical experience, through guiding them with quotes, through poetry, through sound bath. I mean, it's just, I'm really pleased. Okay, we'll end there, and I'm going to go have my coffee, and I'm now going to go work on digital music for Christmas. That's another thing that brings in money. And have I sold out doing Christmas music? What do you think?